what to do. Change of plan. Guys, I don't know. Why is this so hard to decide? Does my lens have a scratch on it? No, that's the light. Hello, my name's Sam. Welcome to my channel. So this is a book haul of all the books that I have acquired since the last time I have done like a book haul or like a book shopping video. And even though some of these I got like as far back as May, I needed something to film today. So this is what you get. All of these guys. Actually, maybe I'll try to go chronologically. Like, I'll start with the books that I know that I got the longest ago. And those are these three. So these books I got at this like used book sale that was happening where I live. And I hope they do it again this year. They did it in May and it was a lot of fun just like going through all of the books, and maybe if they do it again this year, I'll actually, you know, take some B-roll. But I found Night Film by Marissa Peschel, and this is very heavy. And it is about, it's mixed media, and it's about like this daughter of this like cult film director, I think. Yeah, it's got like pictures and things in here and like emails and like that kind of thing, which is something that I really love in books. And yeah, it's about the daughter of this cult film director, and she is murdered, or I think they think she had took her own life, and then someone is looking into it later thinking that maybe it was more suspicious than that. I also found the fifth book in the Veronica Speedwell series, and this is the only one I own, which is a little bit silly. I want to get all of them, but I don't necessarily want to buy them all new. So if I can find them used, which I found this one used, obviously, then I will do that. But the Veronica Speedwell series is following Veronica and Stoker, and oh, I can't even remember what I can tell you from the first book. It like takes place in like the 1800s, and you know, she's kind of like the 1800s version of Not Like Other Girls. Like, she's just not going to do what all of the snooty aristocrats want her to do. She's going off having romantic dalliances, catching butterflies, being a badass, and then someone is trying to kill her. And then this guy shows up and says, "You're in danger. I'm going to take you to my friend Stoker." And then her and Stoker have to go off and find what is going on, figure out what is going on, who is trying to endanger her and kill her, and blah, blah, blah. And then all of the books just follow them as they are slowly pining for each other, but also pissing each other off, and they're a great time. Lastly from that, I got Our Homesick Songs by Emma Hooper. This book has not very many ratings on Goodreads, and I feel like it's very underread, and it is following a family in this town in Newfoundland, and slowly all of the fish are disappearing, and that is their main industry there. And so everyone is leaving the town, and it kind of like becomes this ghost town. And we're following an 8-year-old boy, I think he's 8, Finn, as he is like navigating being in this town and trying to like do things to help his family. And his mom and dad are taking turns to go off of like where they live and work elsewhere to, you know, make money for the family. And there's only like a few people that are staying in this town. It was just like really beautifully written, and it was just kind of one of those like sad tone, melancholy type of stories. And it also like is another one of those where like sometimes there's just like not a lot of words on the page. Like, it's kind of one of the, yeah, like you flip and there's like 2 pages with like 1 paragraph, which is something that I always gravitate towards. Oh, and if it wasn't obvious, I have read Our Homesick Songs and A Murder Isolation, and I haven't read Night Film yet. Most of the books on this list, except for 6 more, I have read, because I usually like to read my books from the library and then buy my all-time favorites. And other than that, I will usually hold off on buying books unless I have read and loved them. I'm gonna skip out of the chronological order, I changed my mind on that, to talk about one book that I haven't read yet, and this falls under the category of I cannot imagine a world where this isn't an all-time favorite, and that is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. This is about a couple, 2 women who live in this house, and then one day this man shows up with his family and says, "We used to live here, can I come in and show them around?" And the one woman lets them in because she's kind of a pushover, and then they won't leave and weird things start happening. And this one also has a bit of a mixed media element, I believe, and I've heard that it gets kind of like unsettling and kind of scary. So I'm like very excited for this one. I think this is going to be like in my like top 10 books of 2025. So I need to read it and confirm. I can't decide if I want to do some sort of order, if I want to just jump around. I'm very indecisive, if you haven't noticed. Okay, this next one is kind of cheating because I already owned it, but I lent it to my mom to read on vacation and she left it in Scotland. So she only had like 20 pages left when she lost it. So she bought a new one and then gave that one to me. And that is my all-time favorite book, which is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. And this is about Madeline, whose life is kind of stagnant, and her friend from college is really successful, married to this senator, and reaches out to Madeline asking if she can come and nanny her stepchildren. But those stepchildren just happen to spontaneously combust. And this is about like found family, and it's just like funny and heartwarming, and I love it so much, and I can't wait to reread the physical copy. Okay, the next 3 books I was gifted for my birthday back in June, and that is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and this is another book that is absolutely hilarious. If a book can like make me laugh, I love it. And this is following Madeline, I couldn't remember her name for a second. And this is following Madeline and her mom and 3 aunties. And they are in like a wedding planning business. And her aunts are very all up in her business. They try to set her up on a blind date, and she ends up killing her blind date. And it's basically the movie Rat Race in a book. It's them trying to do this like big fancy wedding while also dealing with a dead body and the fact that they killed someone, and they all are just making the worst decisions, and it was quite hilarious. I was also kindly gifted Out There by Kate Folk. This is a short story collection, and all of the short stories are batshit. They're all like science fiction, weird, like so weird and just so perfect. The best one in here is The Bone Ward, and I am terrified to reread it. It's like the best short story I have ever read, but like the thought of rereading it like gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like I want to reread it, but I don't know if I want to experience that again. But I have like, ever since I got this, I've been slowly like, you know, picking through, and like some of the stories are like only a couple pages, and I'll just every once in a while like pick it up and just like reread like a 2-page short story, but I don't have the courage as of yet to reread The Bone Ward, but one day. And then a complete switch in tone to Out There is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. And this is about I can't remember his name, Satoru and his cat Nana. And they are traveling, trying to find a new home for Nana. And in doing so, we meet people from Satoru's life, from his childhood, and we get like stories from like their friendships. And it was really another one that was like heartwarming and sweet and very sad at the end. And we also get some things from Nana's perspective as well. So it was a good time. Okay, the next 3 are ones that I bought because they were all-time favorites. One being The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sengu Mandana. This is about Mika Moon, who is a witch, and witches exist, but people don't really know that they exist, and they try to stay apart from each other. Every once in a while, all the witches like in the area will meet, but they do it very infrequently. And so they're basically the rest of the time isolated. And then one day someone reaches out to Mika, knowing that she is, or assuming that she is a witch, and wanting her to teach these 3 young witches that they have. And then it challenges her ideas of, well, these 3 girls are together and I've always been told that we have to be alone. And so this is another like found family story, which is just one of my all-time favorite things. And it was just really sweet and happy and like made me smile. And I just need that. Everything Sad is Untrue by Daniel Nairi. This is one of the most interesting books that I've read, and I just love the cover as well. It is like, it's shelved as middle grade, but it feels like YA, but it also feels like adult. Yeah, so it's like essentially a memoir, but it's told as the author, Daniel, telling his story to his class as like a 12-year-old boy. And we have experiences from Daniel's life as a kid, but we also get like a lot of like Persian folklore and mythology and really interesting stories in here. And I just love how this book is written. And I think it was done so well because he'll tell a story but then say, in order for you to understand this story, you need to know these 3 stories, and then he'll break off and go into other stories. And I think if it wasn't done as well, it would take you out of the story and be really annoying, but it was just done so perfectly, and everything in here was just like, I ate it up. It was amazing. There's like so many things that like I want to like tab up in here as well. Like I remember listening to the audiobook and just writing so many things down and then thinking I need to get my hands on this book so I can like put in tabs. Next I got I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. And this one is so short, I don't really even know how to talk about this, but it is so beautiful. And it's about a girl. She's a girl when we first meet her, and we're following her throughout her life. She is one of 40 women who is held captive in this cage by these men, and they don't know why. They don't know why they're there. They don't know how they got there. They have no answers to their questions, and they never get answers to their questions. And you're following this girl who kind of becomes not like the ringleader, but the reason for a lot of events that happen in this story. And she is the youngest of the girls, so we're following her whole life, knowing that one day she is going to be absolutely alone. And this just needs to be read. I realize that this isn't a book recommendation video, it's a book haul video, but I bought this book because I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was perfect. Like everything in here, I just loved this so much, and it's gonna get reread and tabbed. And yeah, it's just like heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. Like it's sad, but also there also felt like there was so much joy in here. And it's essentially about her just like wanting to have knowledge and knowing that there is no reason for her to have this knowledge, but she wants it anyways. And it was perfect. I'm wondering if I made a mistake by talking about like all of my favorite books first. But this is another one that falls under the category of I assumed I would love it, so I bought it. And that is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. And I did love it. And again, this has like mixed media because it has like transcripts from a play. So essentially we're following another character that isn't named. He just goes by the Thin Kid. And he was a part of this like cult movie where a lot of shit happened on set, and the movie never got released except for 3 scenes, and it just developed a cult following. So there's a few different timelines in here. We're getting them making the movie, we get transcripts from the movie, and then we get him as an adult being the only surviving member, and then maybe being a part of a reboot. And just it's got that subtle eerie tone that Paul Tremblay does perfectly, where it like just feels like subtly like horror, like where it's like the horror vibes are very subtle, like they're in the background where you don't know like if what is happening is actually happening. I might have hauled this one already, but I can't remember. But I was going to talk about Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret, but then I realized that I don't think that I talked about Everyone on This Train Is a Suspect. So I bought this little Christmas novella because I had read and loved Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. And then I bought this one, so I figured why not have all 3? And these are following, it's annoying to hold 2 books. I'm gonna put one of them down. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone is a mystery series, and the way these are written are so fun. They're direct to reader. You're following Ernie Cunningham as he is amateur sleuthing his way through life, basically. And in the first one, he is on the weirdest family reunion ever. He is responsible for his brother going to jail. His brother is now out of jail, and they are in an isolated setting. There's a snowstorm, and then murders start to happen. And in each chapter, he's recounting a certain family member and whose death they caused. And it's, like I said, fun, direct to reader. In like the prologue, he always says like, these are the pages that deaths are going to happen, and he gives you like little snippets and says, in a proper mystery, XYZ has to happen, and these are the rules. And they're really fun. And then Everyone on This Train Is a Suspect is he's on this train on a writer's convention and someone dies. And in this one, again, he is trying to solve a murder because someone in his life is implicated for it. And yeah, this one was just a nice little Christmas novella. One thing that made me laugh in here is like This is the kind of humor that's in this. So like right away in the synopsis, it says, if you're following the rules of Golden Age mysteries, as Ern always does, means it's now his turn to participate in the time-honored tradition of the holiday special. So right from the beginning, you get the tone of these books, and they're just a fun, good time. 2 more books that I got used specifically because I wanted to talk about them in a video where I talked about like the books I love that have like the format of not a lot of words on the page. And one of them being Several People Are Typing by Calvin Kosalki. This book is stupid. This is just a stupid book, but it's like literally the whole thing is written in like Slack messages, like instant messaging, and it's just funny. Like it's just a quick, like stupid fun read. You're following, I can't even remember the main character's name, Gerald, and he gets his consciousness trapped in Slack. So the whole thing is him trying to get out of Slack and get his body back. And it's also like all the other conversations that are happening like through people in the office and like inside jokes and like just like stupid humor. Next is another book that I got for that video, but I don't think I ended up talking about it because I wanted to reread it. I felt like when I read it the first time, I didn't have a good enough grasp on it and didn't like appreciate it enough to be able to really talk about it. So yeah, I mainly got this one because I wanted to reread it and like experience it again and try to get a better sense of it. And that is Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. And I'm just going to read the last part of the synopsis. It says, haunting, brooding, exhilarating, and tender all at once. Split Tooth moves effortlessly between fiction and memoir, myth and reality, poetry and prose. Tagaq conjures a world and a heroine readers will never forget. And yeah, there's like the way it's written, like there's like pictures in here, like things like this, poetry, and yeah, I just needed to read it to get a better sense and appreciation for it. And spoiler alert, I have yet to reread it, but it is on the to-do list. Okay, the next books were given to me by my friend who read them and hated them and wanted, you know, them to go to use. And those are 2 books by Grady Hendrix. The first being My Best Friend's Exorcism, and I didn't love this one. I think I ended up giving it a 3, but we're following 2 best friends and one is seemingly possessed. And so the other friend is doing everything in her power to support this friend and, you know, try to get her undemonized. And then the next one is We Sold Our Souls. And I honestly don't know what this is about. It's about a girl in a band who sells her soul, blah, blah, blah. I haven't read it yet. I don't know if I will, because I didn't love My Best Friend's Exorcism, but maybe one day. Okay, the last 4 are all books that I haven't read yet. This is another book that might be cheating because this is a book that I'm borrowing. I don't actually own this, and it comes from the same friend. She lent this one to me, and this one she actually loved, so I think that I will love it as well. And that is Tender as the Flesh by Augustina Bastarrica. And this is about cannibalism. It's a world where you can't eat animals anymore, so people are eating each other, and it is very disturbing, I've heard, but I've also heard that it's amazing, and this is like seems to be a fan favorite on BookTube, and I think I just need to wait until I'm in like the right headspace to read this. Switching tones completely, we have A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I bought this one because I loved The 7-Year Slip, and so I bought that, and I bought Dead Romantic. So that was one that I bought having not read it, assuming that I would have loved it, and then I didn't end up loving it. And I think this one is going to be the same. I bought this because I just assumed I was going to love everything by Ashley Poston. And I haven't heard very good things about this one, but we're following someone who I believe gets stuck in like a fictional world, like the world from like her favorite book series, I think. And what I loved in The 7-Year Slip is that Ashley Poston has her romances, but there always has like a speculative or magical element. Like in The 7-Year Slip, she's, you know, transported back in time in this apartment. In the Dead Romantics, the love interest is dead. And in this one, she is in a novel. So still gonna read it. Hopefully I'm gonna have a different opinion than the people I've been seeing not loving it. Okay, these next 2 are my favorites, and I'm just like so excited to have them. And that is Pride and Prejudice and Emma by Jane Austen. And these editions are just so beautiful. I haven't read anything by Jane Austen. I haven't read that many classics. The ones that I have read, I haven't loved. But I'm gonna read these eventually. Even if I don't care because like they're so pretty. And honestly, if you held a gun to my head and asked me like what these books were about, I honestly couldn't tell you, sorry. I know the general vibe. Obviously I know that this one has movies, and like it's about like a love story in like, I don't even know the time period. Don't kill me. Yeah, I brought these home and my husband was like, what are they about? And I was like, couldn't tell you. Yeah, I just know, you know, they're fancy. They're fancy rich people and it's a romance. And this one I think is about like, I think she's like tries to play matchmaker and like she's kind of like annoying, and I'm actually very excited to read Emma, even though I know nothing about it. Sorry, don't hate me. But yeah, but they're beautiful. But yeah, those are all the books that I have acquired recently. Thank you for watching if you did, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.